record first. Okay, so the first session will be conducting literature review, which is handled by me, and the second section, which is after your prayers, will be by Umair. Okay, Umair will do the what you call 7:30. Okay, starting from 7:30, but I will be there as well. Okay, to help Umair if any question arise and things like that. Okay, so Umair basically will share not only how to do the right way of doing conducting a systematic literature review, but at the same time, he also shares his experience how we publish the journal and the Q1 and things like that. Okay, so before this one, I think we start straight away on conducting literature review. What is the purpose of doing literature review? Okay, attendance, I think we will do in the second half. Okay, when we have time there, we do the second attendance. Okay, right now we just do on a lecture. Okay, sorry to be delayed today, and I appreciate your time, and I do apologize for this. Okay. Okay, can you see the slide?
Yes, Doctor.
Okay, this is from the Prof. Rosni, which is our ex-dean. Okay, previously for so many years she's the dean. She also do this do teach what you call lecture for ccs591. Joined with me, which is half from me, half from her. And then she retired recently. She already retired, but she's still in university working on the other side. Okay. So this is from her slides. Okay, I do admit I do some changes here and there, but I didn't claim that is because the majority is from her what you call slide. Okay, to recap, if you look research based, okay, if you look, we are talking about research is a systematic investigation to solve the problem such that solution will contribute to the body of knowledge. At the end of the day, your purpose, if you're doing PhD, that is your ultimate aim, where you need to contribute to the body of knowledge. Okay, I think you might see this slide before this, where I mentioned the then that come out that is your MSc or even your PhD, especially your PhD. Okay, so what you are going to do is just a small thing, but it's going to be very meaningful to the body of knowledge. Okay, so this is basically to recap. And if you look what is all about literature, what is it actually? Okay, you can see there's some say it's a survey of scholarly source of what you call a specific topic. Okay, a critical summary of all the published works on a particular topic, a systematic way of collecting and synthesizing previous research. Okay, basically literature review is based on the name of review. Okay, if you look here is relook, revisit, and also re-examine. Okay, so basically you try to see what is the past. Okay, what is the already fundamental knowledge of a particular topic or area, and then you to revisit by doing some kind of what you call experiment or maybe a pilot study, and then you try to re-examine based on the current technology or techniques and things like that. That's how you do the literature review. Okay, so basically end of the day, literature review is a main idea or main aspect for you to do in order for you to do your what you call further research or what you're going to contribute to the body of knowledge. Your problem statement normally comes from your literature review. That means you study first and then you get a very concrete problem statement. Okay, you might already have in your mind what is the problem statement that you want to do, but at the end of the day, you want to do something. This one. Is there any participant still waiting? Okay, there's one. Okay. So a metaphor that acknowledges the works of others when undertaking research. It's very important for you to acknowledge other people's work because in your research, you need to give credit for those who already contribute to the body of knowledge and you are going to do their research or you want to continue partly their what they already done, and then you need to actually acknowledge them by cite them or reference them. Okay, that's the reason we say we need to acknowledge what already been done. Okay, so this is the basic if you look on the literature, and it's obviously you're going to jigsaw puzzle analogy in based on the literature review, because the more you read, you will have a lot of things in your mind. Okay, but you are the person who going to match here and match there, so that it will going to be a storyline to really make sure there's a okay, what do you call, there's a fundamental on the theory wise, so that you can follow on. Okay, why you want to write a literature review. That basically to answer, which is to position your research within the existing body of knowledge, okay, and in relation to the work of other researchers. Because end of the day, you want to know what is already exists there in the literature, or what is already there in that area. So that is considered, you try to position your research, okay, what is your understanding all about on that research, okay, and then from there you try to map what is going to be your objective. From the objective you try to get your research question and all that, okay. And basically this is also to demonstrate. A lot of people coming in, sorry. Can you see when I admit someone in the lobby? Can you see that also in your point of view? No, huh? Okay. Because at least you know who's here late. But anyway, today I'm late, so I'm sorry for that. Okay, back to here. To demonstrate your familiarity, okay. Hold on, huh? Give me 1 minute. Sorry, it's quite hectic because my wife just back and I got 3 kids out there. So that's the reason I took some time. Okay, sorry for that. And continue again. Did I just share the slide with you? Can you see?
No, we can't see anything.
I off the slide now.
Yes, Doctor. Okay.
It's all without the slide, or
yes, yes.
I talked earlier before this without slide. Can you see the slide? Okay. So the for this you see all this or no? I just on and just on the sharing slide now, is it? Sorry for that. Okay. So basically, it's also to demonstrate your familiarity with the topic and scholarly content, and to develop a theoretical framework and methodology for your research. Okay. Most of the time, when you do your literature review, you will find what is lacking, and also you will find what is the technique that you want to use, and follow up on the methodology, or even the framework that you want to enhance on things like that. So it's based on the literature. You always get the idea from your literature. And also the literature also helps you show how your research addresses research gap or contribute to a debate. Okay, that's the reason why I have one assignment. Actually, if you look in the e-learn, I put it for especially for master students who are need to submit them. It's a compulsory. Okay, where you need to critique other people's research. I will talk about that in the end. Okay, where I will discuss in detail about what is the requirement and what you're supposed to do. It's just a 3-page, okay? But what is coming up after that is your SLR is the most important thing. I want you to do SLR after you study today class. Then I'll give you a next assignment, which is SLR. So I don't give you a lot of assignment. I give you only 3. This is a 1 critical review. Another one is SLR. Another one you need to do your proposal. Okay, chapter 1, 2, 3. Okay. And if you look, basically your literature review is the basis. Okay, you need to make sure it will be there so that you shows everything, what is the fundamental, what is the gap all about, and then you try to also to acknowledge other people's work and things like that. So basically that's all about literature review. And if you look in terms of what you call categories of literature review, there are 2 type of category of literature review that we can see here, which is we can mention it as a selective and also comprehensive. Okay, selective means here is focus on a small segment of literature review on a particular topic, which is related work. Okay, normally it's an assignment and a course. Normally this make up the entire work, standard alone work. Okay, sometimes this selective also can be a part of your, maybe you are doing some research paper, or even you want to do for submission for the as a conference paper, you might do just a small literature review on that particular what you call topic. Okay, introduction to section to the journal article begin with a selective literature review to establish the work reported in the part, not part of the larger work. Okay, so basically you try to focus and you are going talking about more general in the term of that particular literature review. Much more, if you're looking on the term of comprehensive, is more to extensive study of existing work on a particular topic. That's the where you try to put all this topic in a very what you call subsection. Okay, normally how you design this, okay, I always ask the student, always get confused, so how should I start the literature review, and when should I start to write? As soon you read your papers, you start to write. Okay, that doesn't mean that that's going to be your first page or second page or things like that. You start to write based on that particular journal or things like that. You try to grab what is the idea, what is the problem, what is the thing that you want to really look on it. Okay, later on you jumble up all of them, become like a story. Okay, let's say you're talking about under the software engineering. Maybe you're dealing with software engineering, and your topic is actually maybe it's about web application cost estimation, which is under software metrics, which is my area. Okay, if you look in that sense, if let's say you're going step by step, you're talking about software engineering, then maybe you don't go so general. Maybe you go under the software metric. Under the software metric, you might go to the web application. Then you try to define what is a web application, and then what is the problem in the web application cost estimation. So you go one by one, okay, and then you try to but when you go one by one, you don't take all based on the each and every single paper in one subsection. Okay, you might have 3 or 4 papers or even more than that in one subsection. Okay, that means that they are talking the same thing in the different papers. Then you try to get some kind of summary, and not only summary, you try to synthesize what is all about. Okay, so basically for comprehensive is more this one what you call detail and more broader, and you try to have the overall, okay, the area that you try to cover, let's say normally for master and also PhD. Okay, a review a field as a standalone paper. The entire article is talking about the past and relevant work on a particular topic, perhaps to establish new direction or to improve understanding. Okay, how to do that is need time, need skills. Okay, it's not something that you can learn today and tomorrow you can write a review. That's not the way. Okay, so slowly you try to practice how you're going to. The more you read, you already know how the style, the pattern. Okay, normally even the paper, general paper, you see they are also do the literature review, but it will be maybe a subsection in there. They say related work. Okay, some maybe they mention straight away literature review. Some mention related work. Under the related work, it's actually they do some kind of a fundamental studies of that. That is considered as a literature review for that paper. Okay, but for your thesis, maybe you need to see on the more detail. So strategy of literature review, what I'm going to talk here more to a traditional, conventional. Okay, I just cover based on the basis of scope that been provided for the course. But what I more emphasize or more what you call encourage students to carry on is to do is systematic literature review. Okay, so even though we really focus on the SLR, but I still cover some of the basic concept of traditional, conventional way of a literature review. Okay, normally written from a reviewer experience in the field. Okay, normally you give your point of view, okay, in that literature review as well. Okay, the reason always, okay, we always mention in the PhD, even though you some students just do summary of the certain papers and things like that, that's not good. That doesn't shows you are in the PhD level. Okay, you need to synthesize them and then give your point of view. Even you try to critique, even you give some constructive comment and things like that. So even starting from the start of your literature, I do understand you can question that I'm not capable to critique yet because I'm not in the position. Yes, true, but you need to start to learn how to critique other people's work. Okay, critique for not being comprehensive or balanced in the inclusion or exclusion of the source material or objective in their viewpoints. Okay, sorry for this. Sorry, when the small kid is there, that's the reason. Okay, maybe I need to hide my background, then you can see what's happening behind. Okay, sorry for that. Okay, where stop? So that's the reason I prefer to have a class in the school, not in the from home. Hopefully we're back to normal. Okay, back to here. So you need to critique for not being competitive, balance, and inclusion. So basically, you need to know how to start to critique other people's work. Okay, it's not only for bad ways; it should be in a good way. How you should learn how to critique, so that when you know how to critique, you know how to build your own what do you call literature, your research will be better. That's the reason, the idea. Okay, but still, people will critique your work. Don't worry, but there's always a way to improve yourself. So that's the reason normally I ask you to submit to the what you call any journal paper, good journal paper, even conference paper, so that you get some kind of review. Okay, that review is people are review your paper, so they give you comment. You see how people look at it, because if you look only your supervisor comment, your supervisor could be biased because big videos to certain time, and then that's you just follow what they say and things like that. But when you submit to a third party and then you get review, you get better point of view. Okay, and then you try to improve your what do you call your content, your material. I mean your what do you call your piece of work. Okay, your papers. So that will be good for your thesis. Next, systematic literature review, which is a structured approach to identifying, evaluating, and synthesizing source. Okay, I don't want to go very detailed about this because you're going to learn this in 1.5 hours later on. Basically, systematic literature review, why I really love to not only using them, I also try to promote them. The reason why, because it's very detailed. It goes until you know what is you are doing, okay, and you go from which year to which year. You specify every single thing. So what you try to include, why you don't include, every single thing you try to mention there, so that even other people want to continue in the same area, it will be easier for them. So you are helping different, to the body of knowledge in terms of that. You are helping the other people. At the same time, you are creating a venue so that people can cite your work. Okay, so research review paper is normally get cited very easily. So normally as a lecturer, you normally go for index, okay, by citation. So people see the more citation you have, that means you are good in that particular area and things like that. Okay. So systematic literature review will be covered by Umair, not Dr. Umair yet. Okay, it's the process of getting doctor. Okay, so he will explain to you at 7:30. Okay, I hope you'll be here later at 7:30 sharp. So normally you won't be late. Okay, what strategy to follow? Which strategy to follow? Actually, sorry, which strategy to follow depend on your preference and the type of research you are pursuing your process problem. But for me, for computer science, just follow systematic literature review. That is my advice. But if your supervisor totally, what do you call, disagree, totally want you to do a normal way of doing literature review, then follow your supervisor. Ultimately, you want to satisfy your supervisor. Okay, so you can discuss. I study about literature review. I study about systematic literature review. Can I use systematic literature review as part of my what do you call literature review? And also try to publish the paper based on that. Okay, your supervisor will be happy. Okay, so if you publish even the first year, so you don't need to worry that to fulfill, especially for PhD, you need to publish at least 2 before you graduate, right? So at least you already have 1, and then you follow up with a certain small problem. Because end of the day, when you want to publish, when you wait until you finish all the research, your result will be too late. Okay, for your submission, your thesis, and things like that. So it's better to have 2 publication before that, and your final result you can publish when you back home and things like that. You still can have your supervisor as a the co-author in the papers, because normally this relationship will go on, okay, depending on you and your supervisor. If you hate your supervisor, doesn't help you, then obviously you're going to just forget him after that, right? So but if your supervisor is going to be have someone who really helpful, and then you want to continue the journey with him while you're in the if you're in the academic area and things like that for future. Okay, that's supposed to be lah. Okay, if first year normally you see supervisor as a superior. Second year you start to learn from the superior as a co-worker. Third year, you feel your supervisor is an enemy. Okay, because your supervisor give you a lot of work. Fourth year, when you already want to submit, your graduate, your supervisor going to be your co-buddy or something, someone who can help you along in your progression. That's supposed to be. Okay. Sorry for students who are coming from what you call master student. I always give a what you call it, expression or impression based on the PhD student. But anyway, you're going to take this course only once. Even your masters, you did this, you don't need to do it again in your PhD. So you learn as a PhD student. Sorry for that. Okay, but anyway, it's going to be the same anyway. But just that the things that you covered for masters, especially mixed mode, is very little compared to PhD. And the challenge and the way the assessment be done is totally different compared to this one. Because for master mixed mode, if your external is going to be only people around USM computer science, but external for PhD is totally from outside of university. So that makes a difference there, and we need to make it really marked to the standard of PhD. That's the reason. Okay. And if you look how to do this is basically is how to do a traditional way of literature review. Okay, I don't go very detailed. I go very slow, and don't go what you call very detailed about how to do this literature review in a term of traditional way. I prefer you to follow closely about systematic review. That's the reason I don't want you to follow this, but I still cover this. Okay, basically for to do a literature review is involve collecting, evaluating, and analyzing publication. Okay, such as books and journal articles. So in a normal literature review, you don't really mention it, what you really cover. But in SLR, you will mention all single things, white paper and things like that, IEEE, what journal. There are 5 main steps in the process of writing a literature review. First, you search for relevant literature. Second, evaluate sources, identify themes, debates, and gaps, outline the structure, write your literature review. Okay, normally what I learned before, okay, before I start to do a systems review, I also do start with a traditional review. And then where I just figure out based on the all these paper that I read, I try to write, and then I put it in a small piece of paper. Okay, and then I try to look what is the actual thing that I'm trying to read around here among all these papers. From there, I try to give one theme. Okay, from that theme, I try to outline what is the focus of the keyword I'm actually focusing on. Okay, from there you try to go deeper and then see what is the question actually you want to interested to know further. That's how I started from the early stage of doing literature review. But when you do system literature review, you'll be more organized, you'll be more defined what is you going to do, and then you follow closely about that. Okay, a good literature review doesn't summarize sources. I always pinpoint it, and I always have this command in even in a Viva, any Viva that I go. If you are going to get me as your internal examiner, for sure you normally you select. I mean the school will select. Okay, normally in a year I will get around 4 to 6 students Viva. That's not easy. Okay, and obviously you get paid for it, but the thing is to read someone else paper, which is a PhD, which is not supervisor, not your supervision, is not easy, yeah. Okay, because you need to give certain standard of report, and you want during the Viva, that is based on the Viva as a examiner. So you need to be very well versed on the topic so that you can give some kind of what you call good input and work, give a very good question during Viva and things like that. Because the examiner is not only you, your external also will look what standard of the lecturer you are in the School of Computer Science. So that will reflect our standard. That's the reason we also need to get ready. So normally just 2 to 3 months. Okay. Who did not mute their what's that? Sorry. I cannot hear anything. Sorry. Kevin, is that any behind?
Doctor, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you, Kevin.
I think someone is did not mute the mic because we always heard some background noise.
Oh, okay. Sorry for that. Please off your this one, yeah. Please mute the mic. I cannot do for each one of you. Can I do that?
Hello, sir.
Yes.
No, sir.
Okay, actually I can do that mute all. But it's okay, someone is talking.
Hello, sir.
Mute yourself, all of you mute. I tried to mute all so that those who want to talk, you can, this one. Can you talk now? Who's going to talk? Can you unmute now?
If anybody want to talk, let them raise their hand.
Okay. Okay, then after that, I already unmute all of you, okay? I mean, mute all of you. That's better. Okay, Kevin, can you still hear that? No, okay, thank you, Kevin. Thank you.
Yes.
Okay. It's fine now. Okay, sorry for that. Next time I will mute all. Okay, and then this one. Okay, if you have any question, you just unmute yourself and then you ask. Okay, and next. So normally in the Viva time, this is a very big issue. Normally I see even comes to Viva. Okay, people still have this problem. In the literature review, they don't really what you call synthesize. Okay, I always mention summary is different, synthesize is different. Okay, if you do summary, one of the example that I mentioned before, let's say you take one paper and then you give, okay, Wong 2010, blah, 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 that paper, okay, that page, I mean that paragraph. Then you go to next paragraph, Jabril 2021, blah, 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 blah. So basically, so you are trying to summary on the each paper. That is not good. Okay, you need to analyze based on the topic that you are going to do. And then you try to cross check with between them. Okay, which one is similar, which one is contradicting and things like that. That will give a better high level of your way of looking on all the literature. Okay, and critically evaluate to give a clear picture of the state of the knowledge on the subject is very important. Okay, I know it's not easy for you to start with this, okay, but slowly you will get on, and at the stage where you're going to do your literature review, you will have a point where how to do this in a better way. Okay, next.
Hello, sir.
Yes.
Hello, sir. If you
Yes,
have
yeah, I
about
can hear
10
you,
paper,
Raji.
hello, sir. If you have about 10 paper to do literature review, and and we know that one of the keywords is to synthesize. How do we synthesize it? Do we read all the 10 paper at once or one by one? After one by one, summarize. After summarize and then synthesize, or how do we go about it?
Okay, when you read, you need to know what actually you read for each paper, right? After you read each paper, you try to have your own words of doing that paper. That is considered as a summary, okay? But let's say you have on this paper, let's say paper A, talking about, let's say about software metric, okay? Something advantage of software metric. Suddenly you go paper B, they also talking about advantage of software metric. You go to paper C, it's also talking about advantage of software metric. Basically, all of them are talking advantage of software metrics. So you can jumble them up where you can mention, okay, advantage of software metrics, and then you put all this, okay, Wong 2022, okay, and then Raji 2021, and then I mean that shows that the advantage of software engineering, software metric is not only been discussed in that one paper. It's been discussed by several papers. And then you go, and you don't go based on the papers. You do go based on the topic that you try to cover. So it will come in a point where you try to see your pattern of your storyline. Okay, maybe you talk about network. Okay, what you're doing in that particular network. Okay, are you going to do on a maybe protocols, things like that. So you just focus on that, okay? And then look at the people who are giving the same comment or same content for that particular paragraph, okay? It's not that you try to summarize all of the 10 papers and you come to your finding or your literature review. No, your literature review, you already plan, okay, I'm going to first have the chapter by literature review. And under the literature review, maybe your topic is about crime prediction. So you go by crime. You talk about crime prediction, okay, and then you talk about how to determine the crime prediction, and then you talk about what's the benefit of doing crime prediction. Okay, you're going to install a brigade or police station in that particular state and things like that. So all this is going to be your flow. But this literature going to support the writing. So basically, you going to design like a storyline. Okay, did I answer your question, Raji?
Yes, sir.
Yes. Okay, thank
Yes,
you.
sir.
So basically, you need to search for the relevant literature. So basically, how to search for relevant literature also a challenge. Okay, because sometimes let's say you go for Google Scholar, you put your title, that one you want to do. It shows like maybe 10,000, but is it that 10,000 of the papers are relevant to you? Okay, so you need to glance. First, you look at the title. From the title, you try to look at the abstract. You don't read all of them, 10,000. No way you're going to do that. Okay, so what is really to your site, to your domain, to your area? You can actually, that is the reason why I asked you to do SLR. They will try to reduce the paper from maybe 10,000 become 900 or something like that, then become 54, and then you're going to concentrate only 20 or 30 papers, and then from there you really read inside, okay, what is really related to your relevant as a considered as a relevant literature for your topic or your area. Okay, any questions? So basically, this is all based on the traditional. Okay, you're going to get repeated by Umair, where you have a better way of doing systematic literature review, where it's a very systematic, very pragmatic, and going to give you a very organized ways of doing a literature review. Okay, so I won't go this very detailed. Okay, this is basically based on the traditional way. Okay, and then from there you evaluate and then select sources. Okay, you will compare this later on with the what you call literature review that based on the systematic SLR. Okay, how you're going to evaluate and then select the sources. Okay, identify themes, debate, and gap. Normally in the systematic literature review, you also do that. Basically, you try to find what is all about, and then you try to include and also exclude what is not necessary for your selection. Okay, and then obviously your debate is basically based on what you are going to do. Okay, whatever not disagree or things like that is totally out. You don't want to what you call include them in your literature. Okay, and end of the day you want to see what is the missing part, what is the problem that still arises. So that will highlight in your end of your literature. Okay, so you need to make sure you try to find that. Okay, you try some papers, they show clearly, okay, this is the problem that still exists, so therefore you can continue to research on that area, on that particular problem. Some papers doesn't really show you, but maybe in their future works they mention it in their maybe in their future works and things like that. But that future works maybe they already start to do in right now, so you don't want to do the same thing that people already start to do. So you want to make sure that people really don't want they have a lot of things, but partly they don't do all of them. So maybe you take some of them to do as part of your research, okay, where the weaknesses to be addressed or even the gap to be addressed and things like that. Okay, so basically you need to highlight the key concept of the paper. Okay, most of the time you need to have this understanding where you try to see all this literature and then you try to highlight what is the key concept that you have for as a fundamental of your topic. Okay, from there what is actually the major part that missing in the area, or major feedback of sorry major weaknesses that you can see clearly and you can solve them. That's very important. Okay, so and also every single time when you do synthesize is not only how people look at the other people paper, you need to have your own thinking about the papers. Okay, but basically based on the topic, you maybe have a contradicting what you call argument and things like that. Maybe you don't agree, it's allowed. Okay, but it's always good to have your own point of view. Okay, because that shows your PhD level, that shows your what you call level of your thinking on the contribution. Okay, if you just give what others people do and just agree every single things, that doesn't show really you are doing research. Okay, you need to not to say you need to oppose or you try to critique all of them, which are even good. You also critique. No, you really see what is actually thing that you think that other people also try to critique, and you also find you have the same idea that this is not right and how to improve them and things like that. Okay. Outline the structure of your, what is that? There's some comment just now. I cannot see. Andy, clear. Oh, very good. Sorry. So outline the structure of literature review can be sequential or chronological. Basically, we don't go very detailed on this, as I mentioned. Okay. If you look systematic literature review, you go very structured. You start from which year to which year you're going to do literature review. You need to specify them. Then you go on. Okay, from which database you take them. All this you need to mention in a SLR. So that's the reason in a LR I don't really this one, because you don't follow a standard guideline. But in a SLR we follow a standard guideline, which is a Barbara Kitchenham. Okay, they have this one who are guru in the software engineering, and then they do that. Actually, system literature review started from a medical world. Okay, they started to do this in the medicine. Okay, then only now we since 2000 something. Okay, the software engineering start to do in a SLR, and then now it's a boom. Okay, but in Malaysia still we are slow. Okay, we are not really doing SLR, but I'm really want to promote this SLR in Malaysia, especially in USM. We don't talk about Malaysia, especially in USM, and also computer science. So slowly you will write your literature review based on this. But in your SLR, you start from all this information is already part of your literature review. And then only you go in detail about the topic, about your, what you call, what you try to argue, and what is your finding from your literature review. Finding means here, what is the research problem, what is the gap that you find from the literature, your literature review, which is very important. Okay? Any question? So basically that's for traditional literature review. Okay, again, I say sorry for to be late. And I think the most important part is the second part, which will come later, which is covered by Umair. Okay, I'll be there. You can ask or throw any questions. We are ready to answer your questions. Okay, but please make sure you finish it up. Is a part which is about no audio signal, any person is the same problem. Is no audio signal? Are you okay? Can you others can you hear me? Others can hear me?
Yes, doctor, we can hear you.
Okay, actually, Kevin
Yes,
is
doctor, yes,
there
doctor.
to check. Okay, check and balance. Thanks, Kevin, for your contribution in this class. Okay, so because sometimes it's difficult for me, I don't know whether you can hear or not. I need the feedback. So Kevin has always helped me in that sense. Okay, so I think you can carry on with this. Okay, we will continue the class at 7:30. Okay, I give a break on the 7 to 7:30. We will continue at 7:30. And I will, as soon as the Umair finish early, okay, I will jump in again to cover more, okay, about the SLR and also your assignment 1, okay, which is about the critique. Those who are coming from master mix mode, you need to have a look at that one, okay, and then I will continue about SLR assignment will come next week, not this week. I will mention to you next week, okay. So for assignment 1 and all that, okay, for mixed mode, if you look your calculation, your what you call, you need to pass this course, right? So obviously you need to do all this, okay? Whatever component for the evaluation I will mention, you need to submit in the e-learn. For those who are PhD, they just be here to attend the class as an audit. You just listen and get the knowledge from the explanation, okay? Thanks a lot. I will see you again at 7:30. Okay. Sorry for the disturbance. I'll be back. I think 7:30 will be okay. Okay. Thanks a lot. Cheers. See you again at 7:30.
See you again, doctor.
Hello, sir.
In at 7:30, yeah?
Hello, sir.
Yeah, yeah.
I see a problem with getting supervisor. I've mailed you, but I think you are so busy. You couldn't respond.
Which one? What is that?
The supervisor. I have problem in getting.
Even WhatsApp, I try to help them to get the supervisor and things like that. What's the problem, Raji?
I've not gotten a supervisor.
You don't go to the supervisor. What area you are?
Yeah. Information security and cryptography.
So can you contact Prof. Azman Shamsuddin?
Yes. But I don't know whether he's not busy because even some of the work he asked us to do, he has not responded.
You give him work to do?
No, we asked him some questions. He said he will respond. He has not gotten time to look at it.
Oh, because he's very busy. I know he's a vice dean for school.
Okay.
Well, if you don't want him, maybe you can also look for.
I will.
Yes, sorry, Raji.
Okay, sir. I will mail you later,
Do
sir.
you email to me, Raji, about this?
No, I will discuss with you later.
Yeah. You can email to me, Raji.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
Okay. Thank you. Bye.
Yes, sir.
Doctor.
Yes.
I want to ask the one